Time for a little TNA. Before we get started, let me address a couple of things. I know a lot of people are excited about TNA. I know they're very excited because of what's going on, particularly with Trick Williams. But I got some news for you. We got a lot of questions of how TNA is being run behind the scenes. You want to know why I'm saying this? I'm saying this now because I'm not going to put it into a Gump report because there's not enough information yet. But I've said this more than a year ago. Do not just run off and say things are great now with TNA. Wait and see. Watch the product and see where it's going. It just came out. This just came out. And I checked the dirt sheets. Well, one of the sites for dirt sheets. And I just found out there was a leak. There was a leak from TNA. You want to know what that leak was? The leak was this. The management, probably the higher-ups like Carlos Silva and any of the executives who now joined him from Anthem. Because remember, they were hired by Anthem, not TNA. Anthem hired them. It just came out that now the wrestlers are very confused because supposedly now they must get permission to smack someone now. It was understandable. You want to talk about the blood. Understandable. Yeah, I can understand it. Like I said, if they're doing it only in pay-per-views and Impact Plus shows where there's any blood needing to be done, fine. Now they're saying only what is necessary. Fine. But I said if it was only in when you're doing a pay-per-view or an Impact, excuse me, not Impact, but TNA show, that's fine. You want to try and maximize what's going on in storytelling. You want to also keep your people from getting too badly hurt. That's okay. But now you must get permission to smack someone. You have to get permission to hit someone, to give them a good smack in the face. That. Not punch in the face, a smack. You must get permission. Do you now see what I'm talking about? Do you now see what I'm talking about when you talk about hiring executives who work in a network setting, not in a wrestling setting? This is what you get. They're caring more about getting this. Remember, there have been a lot of rumors that TNA are going to possibly get into a streaming deal. That's what is going around. That is a possibility. They will get a streaming deal on another platform other than just Access TV. Now they may get onto another streaming service. And all that the executives are thinking about is this. Remember what I tell you. When a company is owned by a corporation like TNA is, they don't really consider themselves a wrestling company anymore. They are a satellite company. And they will do whatever it takes to make money, even if it goes against what traditional pro wrestling does. Now you must get permission to smack someone. If anyone remembers a little bit of history, I know this is going to be a little longer than what I want, but I'm going to say this because it needs to be stated. If anybody remembers the history of WCW, when you remember Watts, he used to run TNA, not TNA, WCW. At one point, he believed, and this is the reverse of what happened when an executive that's worked in network cares more about making money than pro wrestling. You got, I believe his name was Bill Watts. I believe his name. It's been a while since I remembered his first name of Watts. He was a well-known pro wrestler that came from the old school from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. By the time the 90s, near the 2000s, when wrestlers were jumping off the top turnrope to do missile drop kicks or just to do a splash, he never went through that. He at one point wanted to ban anyone trying to jump off the top turnrope. You could only go to the second turnbuckle. Only if you did, you would legitimately get a fine. Because he didn't want people doing that anymore. He wanted old school 50s or 60s pro wrestling. And that blew up in his face because it didn't work. This is the other direction. when a company gets executives who run television and know nothing about pro wrestling, and in many cases don't care about pro wrestling. They care about making this. This is what you get. Now you must get permission to smack someone in a storyline, or just to go outside and do it a match. You got to get permission that you can smack the person, because now they probably want to be PG enough to get on a streaming service. You watch. I'm calling this. I'm foreshadowing this. I'm calling it now. We are going to hear more and more of the TNA executives. That's Carlos Silva and the other two executives who came from network television. They're going to restrict more and more of the pro wrestlers that are in TNA from doing actual pro wrestling things. You're going to watch. It's going to come out. I am calling it now. Those guys will get fired very soon, because sooner or later, the profits they think they're going to get here will begin to shrink, because they take the pro wrestling out of it and you make it more TV orientated, which is not what pro wrestling fans want. That's the reason why right now in WWE, people are beginning to notice what I said for more than a year, that wrestling does not matter to this company. That this company is only going to care about this, even more than what Vince cared about. And you could say a lot about Vince, but I promise you, Vince at least understood pro wrestling enough that he gave it, when he did do it right, a decent balance of sometimes he goes more television and then other times he goes more pro wrestling. He'll flip back and forth. Sometimes he might get it even, but he'll jump back and forth. Right now, we're getting more TV. You watch. You watch and see. It's coming. Now, let's move on. Opening Fatal 4-Way. The Rascals versus the System versus, well, let me give it to you like this. When you see this match and you see that First Class is there and they're arguing between each other near the end of the match, and then do the you get AJ Francis getting upset at KC. KC getting upset at AJ. And then you get like, I did not think those two idiots would do the finger poke of doom. I didn't think they'd go there. But they did. They went there. And it's been a long time since anyone has done the finger poke of doom. I think it's been, 8 or 9, maybe 10 years since the last time in TNA that anyone's done the finger poke of doom. I do remember they did it maybe once or twice in Impact Wrestling. And maybe at least once in Impact and the old TNA in the 2010s. So it's been a long time since anybody's done it, I think. It's been a while. It could have happened in somewhere maybe 2015, 2017, or 14. I cannot remember. You'll probably know it better than me because I don't keep track. But seeing the finger poke of doom was funny. But you got Laredo Kid, who is the only one out there because how do I feel that the System took out Octagon Jr.? Oh, excuse me. Still allergies. I don't know, because are we going to get the Aztec Warriors facing off the System for a little bit? That wouldn't be a bad feud, particularly. You see that they're not really doing much with the Aztec Warriors. You need to give them something to do. Let them go up against Eddie, and them go up against, well, I know that we do have enough tag teams that we do fill up the division, but I really do wish they would bring more people as jobbers for everybody, but they don't do that. When it comes to the men's tag division, they just don't. So seeing that this team will get seasoned working with the System, if it was Brian and Eddie, that would be good, but it counts on how many times they're going to put them up against each other, counting if they even do it. I do believe they will let The Aztec Warriors go up against the system, but it's going to count on how many matches they're going to have. And will there be any story behind it? That's just me, you guys, down below. Next. Okay. How do I feel about this one? I'm like Mustafa Ali versus Raj Singh. Oh, and I forgot, the Rascals did win the match. They did win. But what did I think about the match between Raj Singh and Ali? It was an alright match. Raj can wrestle. Ali can wrestle very good. And they had a good match. But this wasn't about that. This was about the implosion of the cabinet, as I call them, the Order 4. And you could see slowly but surely they're beginning to unravel because, again, Tasha tries to talk to Mustafa Ali, trying to calm him down because after he beat Raj, he has the great hands beat up on Raj. And she's trying to talk sense to him. She gets her head grabbed, and if she was wearing a wig, that sucker would have been snatched off. And she had to back off. And again, you see Tasha feeling very uncomfortable being in Order 4. My feeling is this is me. They are going to break the great hands and Tasha away from him. And this is the best way to do it. Basically, make him feel so out of control. Tasha's the first one to leave, and then probably Hunch will be second, and then finally Skylar will just say, I pack it in, I'm done. You do what you do. Because I believe Skylar is going to be the last holdout compared to Hunch or Tasha. Tasha, I feel she's going to bounce. And that could happen at Against All Odds. I do believe either it's going to be before Against All Odds or at Against All Odds that she may just leave. But it's just me, you guys tell me below. Next. Ash of Elegance goes up against Ling Yang Lee. Now, this was set up last week because of Mr. Stone. It was not meant to be a great match. It was just meant to be a match that gives Ling Yang Lee a win. And you know who we're dealing with. This is Ash. When Ash wants to really work, she'll work. But she's comedic right now. Let's make it very clear. Miss Ash is a comedic wrestler at this point. That's what she is, and there's nothing wrong with being a comedic wrestler to play to the crowd and act silly. And she basically acts silly after kicking a whole bunch of times to Ling Yang Lee, and she getting powered up, and you see Ash going, ah! If she had a dick between her legs, she'd probably gush how hard she was screaming. I'm just saying, if she was a guy, she would be going, ugh! Trying to gush on himself without doing anything or having anybody needing to do a damn thing to him. So that's what we got. Ash gets beaten, laid out on the floor, well, of the mat. And then we get Marsha Slammer's coming out and saying simply, wait until technically she just says, I'll meet you against all odds. But she makes it very clear, I respect you, but you're getting beat. That's what it looked like, which is fine. Next, Max Warner, he basically destroys a guy, which is fine. It's good to see they brought in an enhanced jobber to do the business. I wish they would do that with a lot more of the roster. Look, I'm going to say this to you. It gets boring that the same guys face each other constantly. You need outside wrestlers to mix it up and make it feel like it's a bigger company than it is. This is what many people do not understand. If they don't bring people in to job for your current talent, to at least make it look like they can get wins, it feels like a very small roster. And it is. No matter what anybody says, the TNA roster, no matter, and I know people are going to say people getting hired, it means nothing. Listen to what I'm saying. Instead of writing downstairs in the comments, listen to what I say. It's not about how many more people you bring in. It's about making sure the people you have people that can job for them to make the division look bigger. One of the major problems the X Division has, you don't have a lot of people in it, and they face each other so much that the division feels like this when it should feel like this. And that's a major issue. Hiring more people is good, but you must have people job for them that are from outside that you normally don't see. One, it shows the division is getting people in so they can work with them. Two, maybe one of those people could get hired eventually, but more important, to make a person who's in a storyline feel more important, you should not let them job the people that are already on the roster they faced multiple times already. There you go. Next, and this was the second to the last. You know what? I'll leave this for last. Steve Maclin versus Matt Cardona for the International Championship. I'm doing this one first because the other one is the one I want to talk about last before I talk about all the stuff in the back. We now know that Maclin got a minor skull fracture. It wasn't something major, and he's okay. That's one of the reasons why they did the enacting of the restriction on bleeding. Fine. Like I said earlier in the beginning of this video, it's alright if you're going to use bleeding at the right time. I don't have a problem, even if it sounds like they're backpedaling. Let's make it clear. Did it sound like they backpedaled when they got some people saying, why are you restricting this? Yeah, they did. But there's nothing wrong with that. They can do that if it's good for storyline and also good for the health of the wrestlers. It's fine. But here, having a minor skull fracture, it does make you a little nervous that he is injured and he probably hasn't fully healed from the minor skull fracture, but he is safe enough to wrestle. It's not something bad, but it does make you a little worrisome. How much rest will he really get to fully recover? Because he is wrestling in batches of recordings, and hopefully he's not going somewhere else to work as well, because remember, a lot of these wrestlers, it's not like they just go home and not wrestle. Some of them work other promotions because TNA may give them an open contract where not only they can work in TNA, but they can do dates in other places as long as it doesn't conflict with TNA's tapings or live events. So I don't know if Maclin's going to go and do another company and wrestle there, because he might. And that just makes me feel like, well, it's good to see he's working another company, he's getting this, and he's getting exposure, but I do worry that he needs more time to recover if this fracture becomes worse. He did win the match, and I did like the match with Matt Cardona. It was a good match. And they're hyping up what happened with Trick Williams, which I'll get to next, was good, saying that Trick is not really a wrestler from us, and he doesn't even care about us, but this is a flag bearer for our company having the International Championship, which I'm saying now, thank you that you're making the International Championship important. Because they didn't do it at Digital Media Championship, and they didn't do it with the Intercontinental the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship when PCO was there. It was a joke. And that was a waste. But that's just me. Final match, before we get to everything here. Santino and daughter, Ariana Grace, versus Mr. Stone, who I just realized. I know this may sound like I'm stupid. I'm not. But let's make this very clear. I didn't recognize him. Mr. Stone, I did not recognize as Robbie E. Because if you look at Robbie E. roughly 8 to 10 years ago, he was this. He was way bigger than he is now. Robbie E. was not a small guy. Robbie E. was cock diesel, muscled, thick-ass muscles like this. He was built bigger than he is now as Mr. Stone. He literally lost a lot of weight and a lot of muscle. He never used to be that small. If you go back into TNA or Impact Wrestling history, he was a much more larger guy. And now he's smaller. And I did not recognize him at all. And I'm like, holy shit. Damn. He's so tiny compared to where he used to be. He was proud when he used to be in the Jersey Shore like this. If I'm remembering correctly, he was in the Jersey Shore. And now he's smaller. Damn, man. Now, he comes out with Alicia Edwards. He comes out with Tessa Blanchard. He comes out with Victoria Crawford. And he says, 1, Tessa's not wrestling because her jaw's been jacked because of your daughter. And supposedly she's on the injured list, and due to the fact of how she got hit in the face, because Ariana Grace, I think legitimately might have hit her a little bit more than she's supposed to be hit. She can't wrestle, her face is hurting. So she's out. Victoria Crossford's taking her place. 2, you got 2 rules. 1, 10-minute match, and 2, the Cobra is banned. Now, we got, this is where it gets interesting. I've seen him for years, and I really didn't think about Jimmy Cordero. Didn't really think about him. But he's been a ref like Earl Hebner been in the mid-2000s. He's been working for 20 years. Earl's worked for 40 years, 30 to 40 years. 30 years, I believe. Over 30, 35 years, Earl was working. He doesn't ref anymore. But Jimmy had been working for years, and I have seen him for a whole bunch of years, but never really thought about him. But it's good to see that he is still considered an important ref in the business. Now the question's going to be, what are they going to do more with him? I'm kind of hoping they would do more with him. If he can't ref much, maybe they'll do something in the back with him. Maybe he'll be talent relations. Or maybe he could be an on-screen character. That would be interesting. But we get this match. And there was so much cheating, it was ridiculous. But in the end, Mr. Stone got the win he wanted so much when Victoria managed to get Ariana Grace flat on her back, and Mr. Stone wanted that win, and he got it. And that's what we got there. Was it good to see Ariana Grace with a dad? Yes. Look, it's very rare. Let's make this clear. It is exceptionally rare that a father and son, or mother or daughter, or father and daughter, 2 different generations, get to wrestle one another. Well, either wrestle with each other, not one another. I haven't heard that a father fakes a son yet. But usually a father with a son, or daughter with a mother, or in this case, father and daughter. It's rare to see. And it's nice to see it once in a while. To see his daughter working a match with him. I know with Santino, he must have felt, it must have been great to wrestle with his child. And get to see her work. Whether she's a good wrestler or not, that's up for the interpretation of everybody else. But to me, personally, it is a good moment that I kind of wish was at a TNA Plus show or on a pay-per-view. Maybe they may do it again. You never know. Now, let's get to the segments in the back. Because I know a lot of people are going to be asking me about Hudson and Grace, and I'll talk about them in a minute. But let's talk about Trick Williams. Trick was not there. He did a pre-recording saying that, well, you guys didn't give me a five-star hotel, and my entourage was not feeling it, so we weren't going to be there. But I'll hook you up with something later. He made it very clear that Trick is above everybody, that Trick and A. That sounds so bad. I don't like it. I'm sorry, Trick and A sucks. It sucks. I don't care. I love Trick Williams. I knew Trick was going to make something out of himself. I'm the one who knew it before anyone else. I knew it. But I'm sorry, that Trick and A sucks. Just to me. But it is good to see they're going to let him do these segments, these vid packs that will build it up. Next, Rosemary talking about, am I feeling this feud between Rosemary and Xia Brookside? Not yet. Particularly what happened when you saw her in that video with Grace and Hudson. And she didn't act crazy. She acted nice and friendly-like to when the Iceman, the concierge, showed up. When she shouldn't have. She should have acted more aggressive. So I'm still not feeling it. That's just me, guys. Tell me below. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about, Grace and Hudson's vid pack and their interview. Let me make this very clear to you guys. I want to make this clear. I want to make this completely clear. When you see this situation with these two women, am I happy there are more women on the roster? Yes. Now, if I remember, we got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 women, counting not only Tessa Blanchard, Ling Yang Lee, but we also have Maggie Lee. We also have Crawford, who now is wrestling, and Indy Hartwell. That's 7 women in this year. Generally in this year. Yeah, I know you're going to say, well, Ling Yang Lee did show up last year a little bit, going into this year. But I'll cover her in this year because she really was prominently used this year. So that's 7 women on the roster now, which is great. And I'm making it clear, I'm happy about that. But I'm going to tell you the truth here. The vid pack was very special, particularly when Grace said that while she's been trying to hone her craft, she's been working, since 2018 or 19, I think. I think 7 years in the business, and Hudson's been working 9 years in the business. When her granddad died, but she was already doing a show, and the moment she was about to go out, she found out her grandfather died, that someone called her, and it was, I think her fiance had called, maybe, or her mom. And she broke into tears, but she sucked it up, cleared her face, and went out and wrestled and showed a smile. Shows that she's dedicated to business. And I want to make that very clear. That's nothing against her. That shows she's got character. But I want to make this clear that she being the first Irish woman to be hired by TNA, and another Brit in Hudson, she's hired, this means nothing. I'm going to say it again. Even her grandfather passing away, she had to suck up what she had to do. She didn't say, I'm not going to go out and wrestle. I cried, I wiped my face, and I went out and put on a smile, and I did the best show that I could because I knew my grandfather would do that. That is a beautiful thing. But it means nothing unless the company you're in now is willing to make you look good. I've stated this ad nauseum that people don't always get. They'll say, she did great in this company, or she did great in that company. Or look, they're bringing in women. You should be happy about this. Why don't you watch Explosion? Explosion's not TNA. It doesn't really mean much. Impact does. Impact TV is what mainly people watch. Yes, they'll watch anything that's been put on by TikTok or X or even Instagram. They do put stuff there. But the main show, Impact, and the pay-per-views along with the TNA Plus shows is what brings in the people. And this is what you don't get. If they do not book these women correctly, that means nothing. It was a very special moment. Just like Indy Hartwell, what she said was legitimate. She used to collect belts. She used to work in Toys R Us just so she can get belts from TNA. But that means nothing unless they book her right. All these women, every last one of these women, you've heard me complain about Tessa. Unless they book them right, there's always going to be an issue. And this is what I have. Right now, they look wonderful, but that doesn't mean jack shit until they start booking them. And now knowing, and I say this again like I started in the beginning of this video, that they're legitimately telling wrestlers they must get permission so they can smack someone, either probably in the ring or in any segments that they do to build up story, is stupid. Stupid. This is worrisome. I said this before and I say it again. Watch them. Watch and wait and see what we get. But it's just me. Peace.